What's going on, everybody? Thank you all so much for tuning in to another episode of Mika Says Sukasa, where if you listen to us, you will always find yourself on the right side of history. For those who have been wondering where I've been at, it's been a long week, okay? It's been a long week. I'll just leave it at that. But I am back. I have a lot of news to cover, of course. And I want to thank everybody once again who have joined our One Follow $1 campaign on Patreon, where we show the mainstream media that if they will not invest in the truth, then we will invest in those who do. You can join that campaign by clicking on the Patreon link below. Also, for those of you who keep wondering where I get all these nifty shirts at, one of those places is listed in the description. If you click on that link, you'll be able to find some pretty affordable stuff and in a very great selection. So if you want to, get your husband something nice for Valentine's Day, even though it's already passed, but still. Anything like that, you can go ahead. Or if you want to get a shirt for yourself, you can go ahead and click on that link in the description below. So, as you all know, there was another massacre, another seemingly preventable atrocity in Broward County, which is the Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood area in Florida. For those of you who are curious, yes, this is actually Debbie Wasserman Schultz district. And this is kind of special, and it hits close to home for me because it is close to home. It's actually right down the street from my house. There have been a lot of speculation, and there's been a lot of arguing and bickering back and forth. But I want to tell you all, stop. Firstly, before I get into the news, I want to say stop. Understand that this is clearly being used once again as a method to divide us amongst political lines, to convince us that we don't want the same things. I assure you, anyone with any type of sense or any sense of compassion does not approve of school shootings and wants them to stop. It's old, it's been old, and it's sad that we're getting desensitized, but all of us want the same conclusion. All of us want the same outcome. Now, where we sometimes get tripped up is that all of us have different solutions to the same problem. And that's fine. Having different solutions to the same problems does not mean that we're enemies, people. It just means that we have different backgrounds and different methodologies when it comes to problem solving. Now, those differences is how they try to keep us divided amongst political lines. Having gun control, having a conversation about gun control has little to do with having zero guns in the country. I'm not sure why the Republicans, and I say that specifically, the establishment Republicans keep trying to convince the world or the pro-Second Amendment people that it's about having no guns. And that's not the case. It's actually ensuring that what the pro-Second Amendment people want, which is making sure that the guns are limited to who has access to them, and we want to make sure that those guns, if you do have a gun, are in the hands of good people. So yeah, if it's situationally calls for it, you can use it for the right reasons and do so legally. We want to make sure that they do not end up in the hands of the mentally ill. We want to make sure that people don't have machine guns and automatic rifles and AR-15s, because there's no scenario where you would need one of those. But this gentleman was able to get one really quickly. And people say, well, bad guys are going to get guns. And that's true, but you don't want to make it extremely easy for them to do so. Because if you have to jump through more hoops in order to get a type of weapon like an AR-15, the likelihood of you getting caught is much higher than if you didn't have to jump through many hoops like this gentleman did not, apparently. So just stay unified and don't let the politicians and the political pundits and everybody try to turn this into an argument about what the solution is. The solution is we need control, okay? We don't need an extremist solution in one way or the other. We just need control and a little bit more monitoring. And the only way we're going to get that is if we stop letting the politicians decide what's best for our communities and we start going out and talking to these people and ensuring that people are getting the proper help they need, that we're aware of what's going on around us, because this, like I said, could have been prevented if they were paying attention to this child. So, but in a weird twist, Alexa Meadnick, who was a senior at Stone Mountain Douglas High School where the shooting took place, had an interview, and she said she spoke to the suspect which is weird because, by the way, Nicholas is his name. And she spoke to the suspect, and she joked about it, saying, yeah, she remembered him being in trouble in middle school, saying, I'm surprised that you didn't, that you weren't responsible for this. And he just kind of like laughed, kind of like said, huh? Like, oh, how did you know it was me? Or at least that I had something to do with this. However, she said those shots were fired that she heard right before she saw him. Now, understand, this guy supposedly was using an AR-15. It's kind of hard to hide an AR-15 if you ever seen one, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But you can't, it's hard to hide an AR-15. So that leads one to believe, once again, that there were multiple shooters. And in fact, when she was asked this, she said, oh, definitely. There were definitely multiple shooters. This is a problem because this is a narrative. And it's so crazy because I said that yesterday too. I was like, I bet there were multiple shooters. Because, and if you've noticed, in any situation where there have been multiple shooters, the person ends up not killing themselves. They try to run away. I'm not saying that this kid wasn't deranged. Hell, for all we know, this kid could be a scapegoat. We really don't know. We do not know. And that's what I'm saying when I'm saying that we don't need to start trying to figure out who to blame, who's not to blame, and let's solve the problem. Let's figure out what happened here, because we can't even start to talk about the solution before we figure out what happened. But this young woman, Alexa, is saying that there are multiple shooters, and given everything we've seen about shootings in the past, like the Las Vegas shooting, I tend to believe her. I tend to lean towards believing that there is a possibility that there were other shooters, especially because she even said, yeah, I mean, the guy, she clearly knew him. It was said by Donald Trump that the only way that we're going to quote unquote unify, if that's the word that he chose to use, but he did say the only way we're going to be able to do so is if there was a big event. And I said that there was going to be a big event. This not even 2 weeks ago I said this. Not even 2 weeks ago Trump said that. We don't need thoughts and prayers. We need action. However, our actions must be conducive to a legitimate solution that will solve a broad array of problems all dealing with this issue, because it's not just about gun control, it's about mental health. It's not just about mental health, it's about morality and ethics and values. And once again, if we continue to point fingers and place blame without realizing that we're all on the same team, this is going to continue to keep happening. I would love to know your thoughts about this. Leave a comment below. Make sure you like and subscribe, and always remember, ladies and gentlemen, find your balance. Peace.